Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems shaping our world one book at a time.
Today, we are stepping into a labyrinth, and I don't use that word lightly. We are looking at Dark Matter by Blake Crouch.
Now, before anyone rushes to the comments to tell us that this is a sci-fi thriller, yes, we know, it's a fast-paced, multiverse-hopping page-turner. If you want action, it's got action.
It definitely has action.
But we aren't here for a book club review. We aren't here to, critique the prose or rate the plot twists or debate which actor should play who in the adaptation.
Exactly. We are treating Dark Matter as a systems model. We're using the narrative as a lens, really, to examine a very specific and I think very modern crisis.
The core conflict here isn't just about bad guys with guns or, quantum physics or super science. It is a matter of a very human crisis. What happens to identity, to meaning, and to commitment when life is framed as a set of infinite alternatives?
And this matters so much right now, because even though we don't have a literal box that lets us hop between universes, at least, not that I'm aware of.
That's, yeah.
Right, not yet. But modern culture increasingly treats identity as an optimization problem. We are constantly auditing our lives, comparing our lived reality against these imagined better paths.
It's the grass is greener syndrome, but weaponized by quantum mechanics. And that really brings us to our thesis for this deep dive. Dark Matter reveals how modern systems transform freedom into anxiety by encouraging constant comparison with unrealized selves.
It's a heavy concept, but once you see it in the book, you can't unsee it in the real world. So let's unpack this.
Let's start with the baseline reality, the control group, if you will. We meet Jason Dessen, and we'll call him Jason 1 for clarity.
We have to. It gets complicated fast.
It really does. So he's a physics professor at a decent but not elite college in Chicago. He's married to Daniela. They have a teenage son named Charlie.
And on the surface, this looks like a happy equilibrium. He loves his Thursday family nights. He loves cooking pasta, drinking wine, listening to Thelonious Monk on vinyl. There's a richness to his analog life. It feels tangible.
But, and there is always a but, there is this undercurrent of what if. We learned pretty quickly that 15 years ago, Jason was a rising star in quantum mechanics. He was researching how to put macroscopic objects into superposition. He was on the track to greatness.
He was a legitimate genius. And Daniela was a rising star in the art world. She had a solo exhibition lined up in New York. They were both comers. They were those people you look at in your 20s and you just think, they're going to run the world.
Then the biological imperative hit, the disjunction of life, as the book sort of frames it. Daniela got pregnant. And in that one moment, the whole system of their lives just, it bifurcated. It split.
Yeah. They chose the family path. Jason became a teacher to get a steady paycheck and support the kid. Daniela became a mom and started teaching art to middle schoolers instead of showing in Soho.
And it seems like a good choice.
Yeah.
He's happy. He loves his wife. He loves his son.
Right. And for 15 years, that system held. It was stable until the external metric is introduced. This is so crucial for our analysis. Jason is content until the world hands him a scorecard.
Enter Ryan Holder, Jason's old college buddy.
And Ryan represents the control variable of the path not taken. He didn't marry, he didn't have kids, he stayed in the lab. And on this specific night, Ryan wins the Pavia Prize.
Which is a huge deal in this world.
A massive deal. It's like a Nobel, $1 million, global acclaim, the cover of magazines, everything Jason was supposed to have.
So let's set the scene. Because the book does it so well, it's Chicago, it's cold. Jason Dessen is walking into a bar to meet this old friend. But this isn't just a casual catch-up, is it?
Not at all. This is the Village Tap. It's a dive bar, the kind of place that smells like stale beer and maybe a little bit of regret. And Jason is walking in to meet Ryan Holder.
Now, to understand the dynamic here, you have to understand the specific kind of pain that comes from seeing a peer skyrocket while you feel like you stayed on the ground.
Oh, I think we all know that feeling. You open up LinkedIn or Instagram, you see someone you sat next to in Biology 101, and suddenly they're a CEO, or they're hiking in Patagonia and you're like eating cereal for dinner. Exactly. It's the LinkedIn effect weaponized. Ryan isn't just successful. He has won the Pavia Prize. He's literally putting $1 million check on the bar table. And the way Crouch describes Ryan is crucial. He's sleek. He's wearing an expensive turtleneck. He's drinking single malt scotch. He literally looks like success.
And Jason. What's Jason's vibe in this scene?
Jason is wearing a parka and thinking about his mortgage. He feels frumpy. He feels domestic, and Ryan, in this moment of drunken honesty, which is really just condescension wrapped in a smile, says the one thing you are never, ever supposed to say to a friend.
Let me guess. It's something about potential.
Spot on. He looks at Jason and he says, "You would change the world if you decided to go that path."
Oof. That is just brutal. It's not an insult. It's a complete invalidation of the last 15 years of Jason's life.
It frames Jason's entire life, his marriage, his son, his job as a consolation prize, and that is the psychological trigger for the whole book. Before any of the sci-fi kicks in, we start with this very human crisis, the fear that we optimized for the wrong variable.
Ryan's perspective is so clear. He views life as this binary equation where family equals the failure of potential. He looks at Jason, and all he sees is a wasted resource.
And the worst part is, Jason feels it too, deep down. He admits earlier in the text that he sometimes feels like he's failing his son, that he has little to give. He describes that feeling of looking down a long country road at night when you're young, seeing this infinite potential stretching out, and realizing that he hasn't felt that spark in years.
So the system of comparison, personified by Ryan, has introduced this crack in the foundation of his contentment. He is primed for a crisis because he's begun to view his life not as a continuous experience, but as an opportunity cost.
That's the perfect way to put it. His life has been reframed as the sum of its missed opportunities.
Which leads us directly to the inciting incident, the literal breaking of his reality. Jason leaves the bar, he's walking home, feeling a bit sorry for himself, and he gets kidnapped.
At gunpoint by a man in a geisha mask, which visually is just so strange and terrifying.
It is. But let's look at the dialogue during the kidnapping. This isn't a typical give me your money script. The kidnapper drives him out to this abandoned power plant and asks him a series of very specific audit questions.
This is the system diagnosis happening in real time. The kidnapper asks, "Are you happy with your life?"
And then, if you could do it all over again, would you change anything?
And the really specific one, "Do you regret your decision?" He's asking about Daniela, about the choice to have a family.
It's like a performance review at gunpoint. It's surreal.
Precisely. The kidnapper is forcing Jason to articulate his satisfaction levels with his life's major T-junction. And when Jason insists he doesn't regret his family, the kidnapper injects him with this psychoactive compound.
And Jason wakes up elsewhere.
Or rather, elsewhere. He wakes up in a world where he never married Daniela, he never had Charlie. He is the famous physicist. He is the one who built the box. He is the one who won the Pavia Prize.
And the absolute kicker, the kidnapper was him. It was Jason too, the version of him from this new reality, the one who chose his career.
Which brings us to section 2, the box. This is the central mechanism of the book, but we really need to explain it not just as a sci-fi gadget, but as a psychological metaphor.
So the box itself is, it's a cube, a big dark cube. It's basically a deprivation chamber designed to isolate the user from all external observation. It puts the person inside into superposition.
And in quantum mechanics, and we're speaking very broadly here, this isn't a physics lecture, superposition, is the state where a particle exists in all possible states simultaneously until it is observed. The box basically scales this principle up to a human being. When you're inside, you are everywhere and nowhere.
Okay, so we have the box, this giant cube. But this isn't like the DeLorean in Back to the Future where you punch in a date and a time. How do you actually steer this thing? How do you choose which reality to go to?
That is the beautiful and terrifying part. There is no steering wheel, there is no keypad, there's no GPS for the multiverse. The navigation system is you.
What does that mean?
Specifically, your emotional state, your subconscious. The box reads the observer. It manifests the reality that resonates with your deepest, most unfiltered thoughts and feelings at that moment.
That sounds incredibly dangerous. Have you ever tried not to think about something scary, especially when you're already on edge?
Precisely. It's the classic pink elephant problem. If I tell you right now, whatever you do not think of a pink elephant. What is the first thing that pops into your head?
A pink elephant. A big one. Immediately.
Now imagine that pink elephant is a post-apocalyptic Chicago where everyone you love is dead. Jason 1 and Amanda, who is Jason 2's therapist and helps Jason 1 escape, are in the box and they are terrified. They are running for their lives. So what doors do they open?
They open doors to worlds defined by fear. A Chicago buried in ice. A Chicago destroyed by a mysterious plague. A Chicago where a supernova is about to go off.
Exactly. So the landscape they're traveling through is literally a printout of their trauma.
It's a feedback loop. You're scared, so you manifest a scary world, which of course makes you more scared, which then manifests an even worse world.
Yes, Crouch is using quantum mechanics to make a brilliant point about cognitive bias. We like to think we see the world objectively, but we don't. We see the world through the lens of our internal state. If you are angry, you see a world full of things that justify your anger. If you're anxious, you see threats everywhere. The box just removes the filter.
It strips away the illusion that the world is an objective, external thing. It shows us that we are participating in the creation of our reality every single second of every day. Our perception is the system.
And this brings us back to the motivation of Jason too. Why did he do all this? Why would the successful, wealthy genius Jason kidnap the failure Jason and steal his life?
Because of the gaping hole, as he calls it.
Right. And this is section 3, optimization culture. Jason 2 represents the logical endpoint of the career-first algorithm. He optimized his life for professional success, he won the awards, he built the box, he changed the world. But he sat in his massive, sterile, empty house and realized he had optimized for the wrong variable entirely.
He didn't just want a family, though. That's the key. He could have found someone. He could have started a family in his own world.
But he didn't. He wanted Jason one specific family. He had been watching them through the box. He saw the warmth, the messiness, the Thursday night dinners, the love, and he thought, I can acquire that.
He treated identity like a merger and acquisition. He literally planned a hostile takeover of his own life.
Yeah.
He thought he could just swap out the CEO himself, and the company would run better because he was, the upgraded model.
The hubris of optimization. Jason 2 treats marriage like a job performance review. He comes into Jason 1's life and thinks if he just hits all the KPIs, more money, better sex, more attentiveness, better fitness, that he'll win the account. He'll win Daniela.
So he tries to be a better Jason. What does that actually look like?
Well, he immediately starts making changes. He exercises more. He dresses better, ditches the professor-style clothes for something more stylish. He's more sexually aggressive, more attentive in a way that feels performative.
And crucially, he stops using the nickname Donnie.
That's a huge one. It's such a small detail, but it's everything. That nickname represents 15 years of shared history of intimacy, and he just drops it because in his optimized world, Daniela is more formal, more correct. He's trying to streamline the relationship.
And it backfires spectacularly. Why?
Because of the uncanny valley. You know that feeling when you look at a CGI character or a robot that looks almost human, but something is just off? It's creepy. That's how Daniela feels. Jason 2 comes home and he's too perfect, he's too intense, he's forgotten the little inside jokes, the comfortable silences.
He lost the texture of the relationship, the specific messy data points.
Exactly. He optimized the variables he could measure, success, fitness, attentiveness, but he completely missed the variables you can't quantify. Vulnerability, shared history. What Daniela calls the softness. She tells the real Jason later that the imposter felt hard. He was all armor. And real intimacy requires you to put the armor down.
But Jason 2 had spent 15 years building his armor to win prizes and change the world. He literally didn't know how to be soft anymore. He didn't have the muscle memory for it.
It's such a powerful critique of that whole be the best version of yourself mantra. Jason 2 is the best version of Jason. On paper, he's smarter, richer, more accomplished. But Daniela didn't fall in love with a resume. She fell in love with the guy who cooks pasta badly and listens to static-filled vinyl records.
He viewed love and family as missed opportunities to be corrected, rather than lived experiences to be cherished. He tries to win marriage. And you can't win marriage, you can only live it, day by day.
Which is something Jason 1 is about to learn in the most brutal way possible.
So, Jason 1 is stuck. He's managed to escape the lab in Jason 2's world with Amanda, this therapist who got caught up in the mess. And now they are in the corridor, this infinite hallway of doors.
Section 4, the corridor. And this is the perfect visual representation of the paralysis of infinite choice.
They are looking for home, for their original Chicago. But there are infinite Chicagos. And they keep visiting worlds that are almost right, but fatally flawed.
It's heartbreaking. They find a world where Daniela is dead from the flu. A world where she's happily married to someone else. A world where Jason himself died in a car wreck years ago and she's a widow. Each door is a new kind of pain.
And Amanda makes this crushing observation. She says finding their specific original worlds like trying to find one specific grain of sand on an infinite beach. The odds are not just long, they're fundamentally zero.
This is the crisis in perception we talk about on this show, the exhaustion of choice. When every option is available, the specific value of one choice degrades. It becomes meaningless.
It's the Tinder problem, right? Or the
Right.
Netflix problem, magnified to an existential scale. If you can always swipe right on a new reality, if you can always open another door, why would you ever stay and fix the broken world you are in?
Exactly. The abundance of choice dissolves commitment. Why struggle through a rough patch in your marriage if there's a universe next door where your spouse isn't annoyed with you? The corridor offers the ultimate escapism, the ultimate out. But it's a trap.
So they are stuck in this corridor. Infinite doors. Every possible variation of Chicago. How in the world do they find their needle in this infinite haystack?
This is my absolute favorite part of the book because it completely flips the script on how we think about manifestation or finding our way. Jason realizes that focusing on the big positive things like happiness or Daniela or home is way too vague. There are a million happy Danielas. There are a million versions of his home.
So he has to get more specific.
He has to get negative, or at least imperfect. He stops thinking about the big picture and he sits down and starts writing down the flaws. He makes a list.
What's on the list?
The fourth step on the basement stairs that always creaks, the way the radiator rattles in the bedroom on cold nights, the tiny scar on Daniela's thumb from a kitchen knife years ago, the drafty window in the living room.
Wow. That's profound. He finds his way home not by imagining perfection, but by anchoring himself to the broken parts of his life.
It's the ultimate argument against the grass is greener syndrome. The grass isn't greener somewhere else. The grass is specific right where you are. Your life isn't defined by the highlight reel, it's defined by the friction. The squeaky step is the coordinate. The scar is the landmark. If you try to erase the flaws, you erase the identity of your life.
So Jason 1 finally manages to navigate back to his original Chicago. He uses this deep, textured emotional connection to Daniela, the whole picture, flaws and all, to guide the box. He opens the door, he steps out into the snow, he sees his brownstone, he's made it.
And here's where the book goes from a sci-fi thriller to a full-blown psychological horror story. He isn't the only one who had that idea.
Section 5. The climax. Identity as a zero-sum game.
Because of the very nature of the box, every time Jason 1 made a choice in the corridor, or every time a possibility branched off, it created another Jason, a fork in the road.
And all those Jasons, we're talking hundreds of them, were driven by the exact same motivation. I want to go home to Daniela and Charlie.
So they all arrive at pretty much the same time.
And now we reach the nightmare scenario. Jason 1 makes it back. He's exhausted, he's traumatized, but he's home. He thinks the movie is over, the credits are about to roll. But then he finds a website, a chat room.
This scene is genuinely terrifying. He logs on and he sees these usernames popping up. Jason 2, Jason 6, Jason 28, Jason 112.
This scene gave me chills when I read it. It's not just one doppelganger he has to defeat. It's an army of himself.
It's the catastrophic consequence of the box. Every choice Jason 1 made while trying to get home created a branch reality. And every single one of those branches created a new Jason who also wants to get home. They are all him. They all have his memories up to the point of their split. They all love Daniela with the same intensity.
Talk about a crisis of scarcity. You have one wife, one son, one house, and 100 desperate husbands and fathers, all laying claim to it.
It turns identity into a brutal zero-sum game, a battle royale for your own life. And because they are all Jason, they all think they are the protagonist. They all justify the potential for violence because I'm the real one. The rest of you are just echoes, just copies.
It forces you, the reader, to ask a really dark question. If you met another version of yourself and he was standing between you and your family, could you kill him? Could you kill yourself to get your life back?
And the answer for most of these Jasons is a terrifying yes. It's the ultimate narcissism, but it's also born of love and desperation. To preserve the self, you must destroy the self.
There's a scene where Jason 1 sees other versions of himself congregating in the city. Some are scarred from worlds of fire, some are homeless and broken, some are cold and violent, but they are all him. It's a portfolio of his potential failures.
It completely challenges the Western notion of individualism. We are raised to believe we are the protagonist, the center of our own universe. But the multiverse says, no, you are just one variation on a theme, and you might not even be the most interesting one.
So how do you possibly resolve a crisis like that? Violence just leads to a pile of dead Jasons. There's no winning through force.
Section 6. Resolution. You have to choose continuity over perfection, and you have to embrace humility.
Jason 1 manages to get to Daniela and Charlie first. He gets into the house. He explains everything. And they believe him because he's the one with the softness, the one who remembers the little things.
Crucially, Daniela rejects Jason too, the optimized husband who has been living with them. She chooses the messy, unoptimized history. She chooses the man who was lost and scared, not the man who tried to rewrite their entire script.
But the house is surrounded by Jasons. It's a siege. Every window has a version of him looking in. How do you resolve a situation where everyone is you and everyone knows your next move before you make it?
You have to do the one thing, Jason, the control freak, the scientist, the planner hates doing more than anything. You have to give up control.
The lottery.
Exactly, the lottery. Jason realizes he can't shoot his way out. So he gets on the chat room and tells the other Jasons, we are going to let Daniela choose. He puts his entire fate in the hands of the person he loves.
And that's the fundamental difference, isn't it? The other Jasons felt entitled to her and her life. Jason respected her agency enough to let her decide.
And that respect is what saves him. When they walk out of the house to the car, and this is a terrifying image, walking through a silent crowd of yourself, the other Jasons step aside. They see that Daniela has made her choice. She's holding his hand.
It's this moment of collective mourning. 100 versions of a man realizing all at once that they are the road not taken, they are the ghosts.
And they let him go. That is the resolution. Not violence, but acceptance. They have to accept that they are not the protagonist of this specific timeline. It's a tragic, but really beautiful moment of collective ego death.
That is just heartbreaking. I mean, can you imagine? To be the Jason who traveled across the multiverse, fought through hell, finally made it home, only to realize you are the spare part. You're the one who has to walk away into the cold.
It is the ultimate tragedy of the multiverse premise, to be the road not taken who becomes self-aware and has to just walk away.
So section 7, the conclusion, they get in the car, they drive away. But they can't stay in Chicago. It's too dangerous. There are too many Jasons out there, and some of them might not be so accepting in the long run.
So they have to escape. Jason 1, Daniela, and Charlie go to the box, the one Jason 1 arrived in, and they enter it together, as a family.
They're leaving their entire world behind. The squeaky step, the drafty window, everything they fought to get back to.
But they are keeping the only thing that actually matters, the connection, the unit, the family itself.
And there's this final beautiful shift in the mechanism here. They don't know where to go. There's no safe coordinate to plug in. So Jason 1 lets Charlie house. He lets his son's mind, his son's emotions guide them.
This is the final system analysis. They abandon the need for a specific destination. They completely abandon the need for control.
And Jason tells Charlie something that sums up the whole book. He says, the box isn't all that different from life. If you go in with fear, fear is what you'll find.
It's the thesis statement of the entire experience.
Yeah.
We are all in a dox, in a way. We are all constantly opening doors to the next moment, the next day. And we are all shaping what is on the other side by what we carry in our hearts and in our minds.
They accept the shared journey over a known destination. They trade the world they knew for a total blank canvas. But the critical thing is that they do it together.
That's the core insight.
So what does this all mean for us? For you listening right now, who isn't a quantum physicist and doesn't have a multiverse machine.
It means we need to be incredibly careful with the what-ifs.
The optimization trap. The comparison culture.
Yes. It is perfectly natural to wonder about the path not taken. That's part of being human. But if we let that wonder curdle into regret, if we let it devalue the path we are on, we enter a personal crisis of perception. We start living in the multiverse of our heads instead of the actual universe of our lives.
We become Jason too, staring through the window at a happiness we think we deserve or could have had, instead of building and cherishing the happiness that's right in front of us.
Exactly. At the end of the day, the book argues that identity is continuity. It's the messy, unbroken line of choices, good and bad, that brought you to this exact moment. You can't just jump tracks. You have to walk the line you're on.
And sometimes the line has a creaky step.
And a leaky faucet. And a partner who drives you crazy sometimes. And that's okay. That's not a flaw in the system. That is the system. That's what makes it yours.
This episode analyzes a work of fiction for its thematic and systems-level insights. No copyrighted text is reproduced.
We really went deep on this one. It's a book that sticks with you.
It really does. I think I'm going to go home and hug my family. And maybe find a squeaky floorboard to appreciate.
Sounds like a plan. A very good plan.
For a shorter visual overview of this topic, see the mini explainer linked in the description.
If you enjoy this kind of systems-level analysis, please like, subscribe, and comment with books or topics you'd like us to explore next.
Thank you for supporting Crisis in Perception.